Hey guys, it's Christy and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I am so excited because I just received my Natasha Denona Zendo palette. So I am so excited to get into this. I have been anxiously awaiting this all day. So before we get into it, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel before you leave. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy, and let's get into it. Okay guys, so before I even get started, I just want to give a quick shout out to this brand because I ordered this on the pre-sale. This was, I think, announced on Thursday. Pre-sale was open Thursday. I put in my order. I am international, I'm in Canada, so the product is literally launching the day I'm filming this, which is May 10th. So I managed to order it on Thursday and get it on launch day. Yes, I paid a premium for the extra shipping, but they did such a good job. And I also just want to say that they packed this so well, unbelievably well. So I feel like there was no chance of it getting broken, which is really nice to see. So what we're going to do today, I'm going to do a review on the palette. We're going to do a look, probably something simple. But the next video is going to be 3 looks, 1 palette. So if I don't do something super colorful today using all of the colors, the next video will be. So today I just want to kind of get a feel for the palette, test out the formula, and kind of give you my thoughts, and we'll also hopefully look at some swatches. So initially opening this up, this is a beautiful, beautiful palette. It's got like a bronzy, it's actually kind of a coppery tone, and my first thought was that it looks a lot like the bronze palette, and it does. But this one is slightly darker, but it's also got, though they're both pretty reflective, this one has a much more mirrored color to it. And this, of course, is also the midi version, so the $65 version of the mini Zendo that came out for the holidays. So let's open her up. Okay, guys, look at this beautiful palette. She is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. I don't think it's exactly what I was expecting, but you get some cool tones, you get some warm tones. I love the balance that you get between the two. And you can create some really colorful looks, but also some very neutral looks if you want to go that way, which I think is really amazing. So I'm really excited to get into this. There is also quite a few of the shades are her cream to powder formula, because the way she described it is that there are some shades that are much harder to formulate. So she uses her cream to powder formula so that you still get maximum pigment, but also the blendability, which is so incredible. That thought process is why she's a genius. I make no secret, I am just a big fan of Natasha Denona shadows. So when I initially reviewed this one, I liked it, but it probably wasn't, I said it wasn't my very favorite. I wasn't sure if the formula was 100% what I would normally expect from her, but using it over time, I've definitely learned to like it a lot more. So I've learned to like it quite a bit more, but again, there's only so much you can do with this color story. This one, the range is incredible. So again, I am going to do something pretty neutral today, but then we're just going to, I will use color in my next video. So to get started, I'm actually just going to prime my lids with a Milani eye primer. So I feel like there's going to be a lot coming out from Natasha this year. I feel like we've definitely noticed a ramp up in her releases, and that's exciting. I don't want her to release so much that it becomes like ABH 2 years ago. However, I love her makeup so much that I don't know if I'd mind necessarily. And I'm just going to use my Charlotte Tilbury powder just to kind of set down that primer, since I don't have that type of shade in this palette. That's okay. That cream shade that I love to have in a palette to set down my primer, it really isn't going to set everybody's primer, you know? I'm just going to start by being my basic self, and I'm going to take the shade Balance right in the crease. So I am just taking inspiration from one of Natasha's videos on this one, just because I wasn't quite sure. So this is, you do get a nice mix of neutrals in this palette, but there also is a lot of color. There's a lot more color than I typically reach for. So this palette is absolutely outside my comfort zone. And that's a big part of the reason why I wanted to purchase this palette, because I've been wanting to kind of get out of my comfort zone. She says, well, I'm doing a neutral look. Okay. But I feel like this palette is such like a toned down version of those super loud palettes, like the Circo Loco. Ooh. I was way too intimidated to pick that one up. Not to mention, I mean, it was $170 Canadian, but I just think her MIDI palettes make the most sense. Like, first of all, $65 US, 80 Canadian is a lot to spend on an eyeshadow palette for anybody. So when you get into those higher price points, pretty sure you get the exact same amount of shades. They're just bigger pan sizes. I mean, these pan sizes are the perfect size, honestly. They're bigger than the ABH pan sizes, like her palette. They're bigger than those, but they're perfect. Like you still might never hit pan on one of these. So that's why I just don't think the bigger ones are worth it. And then when you get into these crazy color stories that are definitely geared toward a certain group of people, I just couldn't. Okay. So next, in the video that I saw, she took Mindful on the outer third of the lid. So Mindful is one of her cream to powder formulas. So nice. Oh yeah, that feels wet. I absolutely love the cream to powder formula that she has, just because it blends so nicely. It feels almost wet, but they just blend so beautifully. I feel like there's no work required. So I am already planning some of the looks I'm going to create for my next video with this palette. I was so torn deciding exactly what kind of look to create today. I wanted to do something colorful. Like, obviously I decided to do something neutral just so we can just focus on the palette, but I was so torn. I wanted to create something with these beautiful pinks and peaches. I wanted to even do something with the blues, believe it or not. Who am I? I don't know. I never fail to be amazed with that cream to powder formula, honestly. The one side is coming off a little darker. I don't know why I tap off the cream to powder. I really don't. So now I'm just going in with luster on the center of the lid. And I'm going to do that with my finger just for maximum color payoff. And I think she even said that in her video kind of talking about the palette. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm actually getting bronze palette vibes from this shade. And her artistry is so unique as well. I mean, I watch the way she does makeup and it's entirely different from how I would do makeup. But I mean, that's kind of the fun of watching her. This is beautiful. This is so beautiful. Oh, my fine motor skills are not on point today. I'm just gonna go in and buff that out because I didn't want to bring it up that high. This is such a beautiful look. This is very warm. Okay, and then next, I'm just taking Yama on the inner corner. Well, that inner portion of the lid. That's gorgeous. I think this is one of the cream to powders as well. It feels very wet. Okay, I knew there was a duochrome in this palette, but I forgot which one it was, and it's this one. Yama. It's so nice. It looks a lot like Luster, but I think as the light shifts, that's pretty. It's like this rosy, bronzy shade at the same time. Beautiful. Wow, that is a beautiful shade. Oh, I really like that. I just dragged that on the inner corner a little bit. I really liked it. Oh, that is a beautiful duochrome. Are you guys seeing that? My goodness. Okay, I'm actually just gonna take, for the sake of using an extra shade, I'm just gonna take the shade Zeal. I'm just gonna kind of swipe that on that lower lash line. It's kind of like a forest green. I'm not sure if I like that. I don't know if that was a good idea. Okay, so I am just gonna pop off camera, pop on some mascara, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, I just wanted to add in some quick swatches of the palette. These all swatched so beautifully. Okay guys, so the rest of the makeup is on, and initially just on my first run through of the palette, I love what I created today. It's definitely very reminiscent of the bronze palette. I definitely could have created almost the exact same look with the bronze, if not the same. However, there are so many beautiful, colorful shades in this palette that I'm gonna have so much fun creating more looks with this palette, especially for my next video. I think this palette so far, just based on the color story, is beautiful for somebody who wants to add to their collection, who wants to get into more color, but who doesn't want to just dive right in. So with this, you do get some neutrals that you can kind of play it safe with, but then you can kind of branch out and get into that color if you want. So I love that you have that option. I also love that you have warm tones and cool tones. I love that you have those options as well. And additionally, when I'm talking about somebody who is trying to newly get into those colors, some of these colors, the colors that she used her cream to powder formula, she did because they're harder to formulate shades. So in a powder, they might just be a little bit patchy, you might not get the pigment, but in the cream to powder, they're formulated so that you get the full impact of the pigment, but you get the blendability of the cream. And I think it's genius. I think she's a genius. So I think this is so well done, and I cannot wait to create more looks with this palette. So far, really, really like it. I love that I ordered it. This, again, for me, I'm trying to get more into color. I'm trying to experiment a little more. I wanted to add to my collection and not just buy another very bland brown palette. So this, to me, is definitely a worthwhile investment. I'm very excited for this. Now, this is supposed to be a branch off of the mini Zendo that came out for the holidays. So this isn't actually what I was expecting. This one is almost more muted. I don't want to say grungy, but that's the word that comes to mind when I think of this. And I think it's probably because of this outer shade. But I was definitely expecting more tones similar to this. So this isn't 100% what I was expecting, but when I look at them together, I can see how they would actually pair well together if you were to create some different looks. So I could definitely use them with each other. So I really like that about the palette. You don't need to, but I could definitely see myself kind of dipping into both and using them to complement each other. So that's something I noticed as well. So I am very, very excited to play with this more. So far, I really, really enjoy it. Do I think it's worth the money? Absolutely. I always think Natasha Denona palettes are worth it. Honestly, I would go as far as to say I like this one more than I like the bronze palette, and I really like the bronze. So I have 3 of her middies. I have this one, I have the bronze, and I have the glam. The glam is probably my favorite, but this is kind of, I like this color story so much that it's kind of, I'm interested to see how that goes. I do like this one better than the bronze palette just because there is more range with it. So I like that, whereas I find the bronze, the shades are beautiful, the formula is amazing, but at the same time you can't really create a range of different looks. So I feel like for the $65, I don't want to create the same look over and over again. Whereas with this, you're going to be able to create so many different looks, and I can't wait to do that. So again, for my next video, it's going to be 3 looks, 1 palette. So this look is not going to be included, of course, so I'm really excited to play with a bunch of these different colors. I also think it's a little bit more cohesive than, say, the Circo Loco. That one was designed to look chaotic. But I'm someone who, I can't really look at a palette, like look at a colorful palette, and I can't always figure out what colors are ideal. I'm just not the most visual person in that way, but when it's laid out like this, I can see what I want to do. So that just really helps me. I really like that. I love that this, for me, Balance is a really beautiful transition shade. It's almost a bit deep for a transition for me, but I'm so excited. I really, really want to play with this pink. And the shade Calm, I actually thought was a shimmer in the photos. It's not, it's a cream to powder. So I'm just so excited about this whole palette, and I can't wait to play with it more. But that, so far, guys, that is my first impression. I really like it. I really enjoy it. I'm very excited that there are so many of her cream to powder formulas in here. The shimmers I played with today are absolutely stunning. This shade Yama is the most beautiful duochrome. So I love a good duochrome moment. That is where I'm going to leave it for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it so much. I hope this video was helpful. So I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!